Now we have a link in the description down below. It's an affiliate link, so if you go through it, you can save yourself 10% while also supporting the channel. And so that is hostinger.com/Santrell. That will bring you to Hostinger's landing page. Looks a little bit intimidating, but on the top somewhere, you should see services. Click on services and then click on Horizons. That will bring you into the Hostinger Horizons landing page. We can start for free. Just click on the start for free button there, and we have to create an account now. So that brings us into this text box. Now, two things that many people might not even notice. On the bottom right, you can enable the microphone. You can just dictate to this and tell it what you want. And the bottom left, you can upload images, which could be your logo. It could be something like you want it to be similar to a screenshot of this website. There's different things you could do with that, but I'm just going to go with a text-only one. I had this generated in ChatGPT. You can write your own, but sometimes it's faster just to do it like that. So we'll hit enter. And the example that I want to go with here is going to be basically like a QuickBooks knockoff. It's a tool that, as somebody who runs a business, I'm not particularly fond of QuickBooks. It's very, very expensive. I don't really need that many features in there. And every year they're always changing the interface. And I would love to have a simple tool that just allows me to upload my bank statements, my credit card statements, and just categorize them myself. It would be really easy to do, but again, no tool like that exists because there's so much money in QuickBooks. But if you could build it yourself, this would be a really powerful tool. Now, as you enter that, it may prompt you, might not, but for me right here, it's prompting for some extra questions. So first of all, it says, do you want file storage or do you want to just discard files after it interprets them? I'm going to discard the files. And secondly, are there user accounts? I would love user accounts. So let me answer that right now. I will hit enter and it's going through a whole bunch of stuff here. So we kind of just sit back, maybe grab a coffee, and we'll come back and see what this created. So that took a few minutes, but we now have our website on the right side, the creation that is based on our prompt, and it looks quite good in my opinion. There's definitely some things I want to edit, but that brings us into the next section of this video, which is going to be really editing this. And this is the important part. So of course, you probably could have put in a prompt by yourself without a tutorial, but my hope is that this video, it helps you in this portion right here, which is actually editing this. So on the bottom here, we've got the ability to upload images, maybe your logo, for example. We have the microphone again to dictate more commands, or this little icon right here allows you to select and edit. Now, that's not going to be like editing the text right here. There's a different way to do that, but I can click on something and then ask for changes. Instead of saying the top button on the left, do this, I could say change this button, make it transparent, give it like a little effect when you hover your mouse over it. All right, so look at that. Now when I hover over it, you get that neon glow. That's pretty cool. It's exactly what I told it to do. But if we wanted to edit something specifically and we didn't want to ask it and use our commands on the left side, we can do this by clicking on the top. So we have preview mode, as you can see right here. We have edit content, which as you would expect allows you to click on this and we can edit what everything says. I could just delete things, I could say save, and you'll see it's going to be changing everything like that. We also have code here. If you wanted to use the code, copy it, put it somewhere else, or edit it manually, or put something else in here, you're able to access all of the code for the entire website on the left side there. So I think most people watching this video are probably never going to go into here, but there it is in case you ever need it. We also have data on the right side, which is going to be essentially managing how the data is used on your website. So I'll say, got it. Let's get this stuff out of the way. We've got test data and live data. Let's go back to test data. And you can see like accounts are going to be right there. So let's go back to preview. And another thing that you'll probably notice on the top right, you have the mobile view. So anyone visiting this from their phone, it's going to look like this. And you can change this. If you don't like how it looks on mobile, you can just ask on the left side and do it right here. Also, if there's ever anything that you didn't like that it did, so you ask it to change something and you're like, you know what, I actually don't like the way that's glowing green, you can go back and you can have it try it again. It tells, by the way, it tells you how many credits you used, or you can just click on restore. If you click on restore, it'll just go back in time and, undo all the changes essentially. On the top right, we have integrations. There are not a ton of integrations right now, but you don't really need that many. Most of it is handled by Hostinger, but of course payments. So you're gonna have to set up Stripe if you want somebody to pay you in any way, whether it's an e-commerce website, an online store, or if it's something that is subscription based, like this, for example, you may have subscriptions for this. You would wanna set up Stripe so you can actually accept payments. You can also set up integrations for online store, again, to manage products and stuff like that. Sometimes things like that are just easier to do without an AI chatbot. And then we also have analytics. You can set that up as well. But those are the integrations we have right now. I'm sure more will be coming in the future. I haven't found a huge need for a lot of integrations though, for most of the things I've built with this. So let's do one final test here. I think you guys have a pretty good idea of how this actually works and how you'd edit it. But let's go to this and say open in a preview in a new tab. and we can kind of test out this website. So let's say get started for free. I'll set up an account. So as you're setting this up, one thing that you will inevitably find is that there are going to be some errors. For example, when I try to set up an account right here, it says it failed to create a record. So all you do is on the left side, you'll tell it, hey, I got this error. You can also see the error log up here. If you click on that, it'll show you all the errors. And then you can just copy and paste that over here and say, hey, this is what I saw, fix it. Okay, so that seems to have fixed the error. Now I can sign in and it shows me what it would look like. I can go to transactions. We've got the ability to upload. We've got reports over here, and I can export things as well. This is all really actually quite impressive for just a couple lines of prompts. But now we need to be able to publish this. I will test this out in a minute, but let's go to the top right and click on publish. And this is going to bring us into claiming a deal. So I'll click on claim deal. And in order to connect this to a domain, actually have this functioning, like I said, it's free to get started with this and play around with it and see if this is really the right fit for you. But once you have something that you really like, there's 4 different plans you can choose from. I recommend for most people, the Explorer one is fine, but I would go with the starter, and this is the reason. So obviously you're getting a lot more credits, but the big win for me is that you can have up to 25 websites versus just one website. This means that in the future, if you have another idea, another thing you want to build with Hosting or Horizons, you can do that 24 more times for $13.99 a month, versus if you do the Explorer, the second one you build is already going to be, the same price as this. So if you're going to build any more in the future, I highly recommend at least getting this one right here. So I'll say select plan, and we can choose the 12-month plan here. On the right side, we click on have coupon code, and I'll type in Santrel 10. We'll click on apply, and that gives us a 10% discount on that order. Now I can say continue. We'll just enter our credit card details, and then we'll be able to connect a domain here. All right, so there we go. We now have it. I can click on get started. So that brings us back to the editor. We can click on publish in the top right. And now that we have an account, or now that we have a subscription here, it should be good to publish, and we can connect a domain to this as well.